I had wanted to show some of the differences and things to look out for when getting Akira #1. So there are two printings with Akira. #1, there's a first printing and a second printing. And I had a hard time finding how I can tell the difference between those. So I've been doing some research. And the first printing has the $3.50 on it. The first printing was released in August of 1988. And then the second printing has a higher price right here. I believe it's like $3.95. So, but it's the higher price. So that's how you know it's the variant second printing. Now, why is that important? Well, the first printing right here is about 6 times as valuable. So this is something that you'd want to get to so that it appreciates and that it has value over time, the first printing. Whereas the second printing, it's 1/6 of the value is the listing on the comic quotes. So that's kind of the one to avoid, or if you can find it cheap and you just want to read through it or have something that you have kind of the variant on it, that would be okay too. But you don't want to pay the same price as the first edition for as the second edition. Okay, so this was, like it said, it had come out in 1988, the first edition or the first printing, and then the second printing came out in December of 1988. And one of the things that makes this so nice is this is one of the first times they used computer technology to do the coloring inside of here. And it was all redone from its original Japanese. So if this were in Japan, if this were the Japanese version of Akira, then it would be read right to left. So we would read it like a normal manga would be read right to left and go through it, and then that would be the last page over here. But in America, Katsuhiro Otomo, sorry if I've said that wrong, he went and re-illustrated and went over all the graphics and the sound effects so that it would fit the American audience. So it's really nicely done and put together well in this kind of format, and it has that kind of vintage kind of feel or value to it that makes it a lot more fun to read to me. Now they have some bigger sets of these where they've compiled them into like a big group. Some of them are in black and white. I'd really prefer reading the color version, and having it broken down into these different chapters just makes it a lot easier to kind of enjoy too in pieces. So I just really wanted to make sure that I put it out there about some of the differences here, because sometimes I'm seeing that they're selling the second printing of this for kind of the same price as the first printing. And like for example, in November of 2020, this one right here is worth about $30 to $50 for a good copy. And then the second printing is worth about $5 according to the comic quotes on it. So a big difference, you know, 5 to 50. All right. And then just to kind of be aware, the second chapter also had that same situation where they released a second printing of it in December. So the original second chapter came out in October of 1988, and then they re-released it in December of 1988. And once again, it has that same type of lesser value for that second printing. So when you get it, you want to make sure you try to get the first printing of it. So make sure if you buy it from an online site that you can see the actual copy and that they show this pricing right here, and that's kind of the way to tell. And I kind of looked through it, and it's really hard to kind of tell if there's any other differences in there with the comic. So from what I can understand, that's kind of the easiest way. And a lot of times they'll show you the front cover for the comic that they're selling. They don't really go into much detail on the inside of it. I have noticed that sometimes they call this the white pages, so that when it's graded, this is called the white pages Akira #1. And like I said, I believe that's just in reflection of it's the first printing that was released here. So I've been really enjoying this comic, and I just want to kind of offer it out to those of you viewing this. If you're wanting to get one, I would really encourage getting this first printing, and it's really fun and enjoyable to read and experience.